Alright guys, welcome back to Underground Science. In this video we're going to go over the layers of the blood vessels, in particular the layers of a capillary. Alright, so let's go and get started. So the walls of a capillary, or I should say the layers of a capillary, right? If we're talking about the endothelial cells, it only has one layer of endothelial cells, meaning only one cell thick. Alright, so the endothelial cell surrounding is only one cell thick. So what I mean by that is it only has one layer of endothelial cells. All right, so let me go and actually, you know what, let's just go and redraw this, is that, because we have to draw the fenestration, that's why capillaries have a thin tunica intima layer, all right? So, because it only is one cell layer thick. So what I mean by that is, look at this. So it's surrounded by one layer of endothelial cells, and even that has fenestration, right? So it's important for the layers of a capillary to be very small, because we need that smallness. We have to use that smallness to our advantage. Let me just go on a tiny one here, so that we can diffuse nutrients across and from our blood to our tissues, right? So this is going to be our lumen of our capillary, and so let me go and write that in black. So this is going to be our blue. Let me go and write the lumen, right? So we can differentiate in colors. And then on the outside of the capillary, so this is just a cross section of the capillary, right? So the outside is going to have a basement membrane mostly made of collagen, all right? And the thing about capillaries is that they only have a tunica intima layer. All right, so what does that mean? That they don't have any smooth muscle like arteries and veins are like in the tunica media layer, and they don't have an adventitious layer either, a tunica externa layer. They only have a tunica a tunica intima layer, right? My bad. And a tunica intima layer only consists of one cell layer thick, right? So one layer of endothelial cells, right? Only one cell layer thick, okay? So one layer of endothelial cells, and it consists of our basement membrane. All right, so endothelial cells and our basement membrane. That's it. All right, so our basement membrane. So that's the only two layers, you could say, that make up the tunica intima of the capillary. And the reason why the capillary only has one layer and it's only one cell layer thick in terms of the endothelial cells is because we don't want the layer of the capillary to be too thick, because like we'll discuss in the future, for Fick's law, right, the less the molecules can travel, right, at a specific rate through the layers of thickness. So we'll see that later in Fick's law, but so that's why if we have less thickness, we'll have a better chance of diffusing nutrients across our capillary layers, right? So here we see fenestrations, right? So just fenestrations are small, pretty much gaps in our capillary that we see that will allow nutrients to diffuse across and into our tissues, right? So into our cells of our tissues. So we'll have nutrients that will squeeze across, diffuse across, like oxygen, for example, right, into our tissues, and other nutrients, other important nutrients. So here I'm just drawing tissue cells with our nucleus, right? And so that's why we have fenestration. So these small, you could say like small gaps, are going to be called fenestrations, all right, that are present inside a capillary. And we've seen fenestration before, like, I mean, there's examples of capillaries like we've seen in our cardiovascular playlist, for example, near our lungs, right? Our pulmonary capillaries that carry deoxygenated blood and are trying to get oxygenated. Well, over there we have alveoli near our pulmonary capillaries, and those are capillaries, the same as these, right? Just a tunica intima layer, very thin layered, right? So that CO2 can diffuse from the capillary into the lungs, and oxygen can diffuse from the lungs into the capillary easily. Right? So things like that, and capillaries are all over our body, and because of capillaries, we can have easy diffusion of nutrients across the capillary layers into our tissue cells, all right, into the interstitial space, like for example fluids, because of the high pressures of the heart when it beats, all right, during systole. But we have a lymph system to take care of that, and we'll go over that in a future. We'll go over the lymphatic system in a future playlist. All right, but this is pretty much the layers of the blood vessels of a capillary. The only thing to remember that's important is it only has a tunica intima layer. So what that means is that it doesn't, so no smooth muscle layer, right? No smooth muscle layer and no tunica adventitia, so no extra collagen, right? So no tunica adventitia, or tunica externa is another name. All right, so that's what I want to get through in this video. Hopefully this video made sense to you guys. Hope you guys tune into my future videos. We'll talk about more cool topics about biochem, physics, and chem. Don't forget to hit that notification bell, like, and subscribe. See you guys later, and stay safe.